All right, children, here we go.
ASAP's apology. I did get stitches last week. Just say.
I'm waiting, kids. I'm waiting for you.
I forgot to film it though.
So, first of all, was there any extreme Halloween drama or other stuff that we have to discuss at this moment?
A kid knocked on my door and I didn't feel like answering it, so I kind of ignored it.
No way. I thought that was correct.
Oh, we have to check it. No, there's
All right.
Will you send that to me?
The soap was in the orange one. 2 for rinsing that are fresh water. 2 that are orange are for washing that have soap. Don't I see 5 out there?
Oh my god.
What?
Yeah, dude. In a month it's gonna be December, and then in a month it's gonna be January, and then in a month it's gonna be February, and then in a month it's gonna be March, in a month it's gonna be April, in a month it's gonna be May, in a month it's gonna be June.
Hey, Rebecca Black, did you know that Saturday comes after Friday?
I did not. Thank you. You learn something every day.
Gang, that was a lot of confusion. Okay, I'm going to get going. Please be quiet. I'm yelling a whole lot, and I don't know why, because I'm super tired tonight. My kids had a crazy Halloween. And speaking of crazy Halloween, if I could please just give you like free, unwanted advice. I know none of you were asking for this advice. Do not go to Isla Vista. Do not go to Isla Vista. Do not go to Isla Vista. You might know that I was a local back in the day, and I actually had like a couple of years of really sleazy youth in Isla Vista. Back in the days when Isla Vista Halloween was really, truly, legendarily crazy, and I have seen some depressing and depraved and debaucherous behavior in Isla Vista. I want to just, without getting into storytelling, I want to strongly recommend, because I know the deal. I want to strongly recommend that you not do it. It's a bad call. Anthony? Okay. Great. All right, because you got stung by something? Where's that? Oh, you broke your wrist. When did that happen?
February.
All right. So anyway, please take my word for it. It's not quite as glorious as you might hope it to be. And it can actually get really sketchy and dangerous for young people out there. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about all of this stuff. Just saying. I saw what I'm pretty sure was the prelude to a date rape. And I saw a guy stage dive off a balcony, and everybody moved, and the guy hit the ground and had to be carried away by an ambulance, and nobody was helping him. Yeah, on concrete. And I've seen countless fights and people barfing in the bushes, and I don't know. I'm just sort of burned out on the party scene, so I guess a lot of that stuff is just like negatives about the party scene. But young people like you are just ammunition for the college towns. I don't know. I'm not like some Nancy Reagan type, so I'm not going to tell you what's right and wrong, but I just, my advice is over. Okay. Back to class, though, because it's not Halloween forever. You've got your glassware up here. Unless you are these people. Why did you save this?
A big.
What is this? Do you have one? Well,
We have dirt ones. I guess we can save that one.
oh,
We have dirt ones.
Keepsake.
oh, good, okay.
It's a memento.
These will be really easy to clean, as opposed to the other ones that are going to be a little harder to clean. Okay, so anyway, good job. Save wrong ones, doesn't matter. Back to me.
Save the other ones too, though.
That's very important because that's the ones you need. Okay, good. Watch. You're going to get something that looks like this. You'll probably have some floaties at the top. You'll have some murky water which still hasn't finished settling. That's mostly clay, by the way. It's a suspended clay. That's water that still hasn't become perfectly still, so the sediment hasn't settled out yet. And because the Calgon is a soap, it lubricated all the grains. So the last time you shook up the dirt, the heaviest stuff sank faster than the lighter stuff. And because every grain was lubricated, the heavy ones moved past the light ones. And you should have, in most of your cylinders, not all of them, I'm sorry to say about 10% of you have either bad dirt or didn't mix well enough or didn't put in enough Calgon or something. But if everything went according to plan and you got lucky with your dirt, you should have a layer of sand covered by a layer of silt covered by a layer of clay. The clay is usually finer, lighter color, and it makes like a thin little layer of like white, light gray sort of stuff on top there. Even from across the room, some of you might be able to see that thin white line at the top there. That's the clay. You'll notice they've got some floaters, they've got the water, and then there's clay, silt, and sand. I see all three in this sample. So I don't know if you can see it from back where you are, but there's a little bit of clay, some silt, and then a bunch of sand. In this case, Sabina and Rosie, write this down. They have 26 milliliters total. Please look up. The total is this. From the bottom to the very top is their total. So girls, that's a 26. Then they have about 2 milliliters of clay. Then they have about 7 milliliters of silt. Excuse me. Sorry, Rosie. Did you get that? Silt. And then the remainder is sand. So in your case, that was what? 26 minus 2 minus 7 or something? Okay. So that's about 17. Yeah, that's 17. Yeah. And that's what it looks like here. Now look, students, as soon as I start handling this, the clay starts to lift off into the suspension. So if you were to shake this for just another couple of minutes, it would all get confusing. But I want you all to realize something, that even from across the room, you can notice the differences in color more easily than the differences in texture. You know, dirt is all small, and our eyes are not quite microscopic enough. So if you look really closely, yeah, I can see the sand grains. By the time we're talking silt, I can see a couple of grains within the silt, but I cannot see every individual grain of silt. And then the clay just looks impossible to see those grains. You'll need to record. Please look up the total in milliliters, then the milliliters of clay, silt, and sand, and you divide the milliliters of silt, for example, by the milliliters total to get the percentage of silt, for example. Yeah?
Where do you want us to record this?
I don't know. It's your data. It's for your lab that you were doing yesterday.
Are we? I mean, like, are we all three individually, or are we?
Yes, everyone does their own labs always. Any other questions about that? Recording data, everyone does their own labs. Okay. I have a couple bits of advice for you, and then you can get started. But you'll want to hear this advice. First of all, be very careful. Some people took tape and connected two graduated cylinders. So when you go to move one, you might tip over the other one. Careful with that. Second, after you left, I packed them all together. So there's no wiggle room between them. You want to be really gentle to move them carefully from the base. You might want to create a little space by dragging away the ones on the outside. Be very careful with these. Some of your samples settled sideways because if you put the base on top of another base, the cylinder would have been at an angle, so the sediment settled at an angle. So when you look around, if you spin the graduated cylinder, you'll just have to average the surface of the dirt as if it were flat. Does that make sense to everyone? That if it settled sideways, when you put it vertically, it's going to say 27 on one side and 25 on the other. So you'd have to average that. Does that make sense to everyone? After you finish with that, you'll take off the tape, you'll take off the rubberized top. Please look at me. You'll throw out the rubberized top and the tape in the trash. Then if you look outside by the elevator, there's an orange bucket with soap water and a white bucket with fresh water. Use the soap water until there's no dirt left in the graduated cylinder, please. Then when there's no dirt left, rinse it out and bring it to me. I'll be waiting here to put away your glassware. Are there any questions about this? I'd like to do something else at the end of our period, so please make sure that you wrap all this up. Go ahead and do that now. Aaron, don't touch me there. Is that good? It's not bad. But at least you have 3 color changes. That's good. Yeah. You see the color changes in the water. Which one was light? Wow. That's probably the silk getting ready to, or the clay getting ready to start settling. Yeah. Right there is fuego. Yeah. Whoa, that's who's playing yours, though? Wow. You okay?
Yeah. I'm fine. I don't
What is
know.
Kind of hard to say. It's not exactly done settling. It might be 14. Yeah, 14. What's up, bro? Don't touch it.
Is that the one right there where the sand stops? You mean 9 silk? Is that hardwood?
Oh, why? Really?
My life put I jumped up on the thing that was just and if anything, it might be 1 of the 6. Five. If I have a little less play and a little more. I can also like play the water. This side. Did you do that? No. Did you do that? Wow. Paul just look at that.
I'm not saying. 10 minutes, 1 minute. They are.
I think it's pretty clear that the cost goes up to 21, right?
Yeah.
And you have 1, 6. Then the average maybe in there somewhere, 14 to 15.
Okay.
But it's sort of hard to say because it's not perfectly settled yet. He's resting. I'll be right back. Yeah, I can't do that? Okay. Here's asking. Yeah. Jake, what do you get for your soil? Total's 28.
Yeah. Clay is 2 millimeters.
Aren't we supposed to contain? Were you measuring? I was measuring. Well, there's So what was your
Silt was 10 out of 28, Clay was 2 out of 28, Sand was 16 out of 28.
Clay was 2.
What about, did you do his?
I think the Sam is 16.
Yeah. Wait, what am I doing? So for dark.
All of them or just
Oh god. Seven. For number one for dark. For which one? For number one for dark. For time? What?
Diego, are you going to send someone for that?
Yeah.
Minute one. There isn't another assignment in class.
right?
Doing that.
That's weird.
It's like right on the line when you
I think it would definitely.
Oh wait,
What do you mean? They're 4% water.
21. No, it's
15.
Do we record individual results?
All of these environments.
Yeah, we're in what's up? Does it possible to have two of the same soil types?
Green again.
Yeah.
And then
So it looks like the doctor has a higher.
Yeah.
12%.
And then we have to do the clay and stuff percentage.
Where's that?
So the clay.
Okay, 12% raw.
So then we have to do one side.
That would have been my only friend.
4.5.
An nice pencil.
It's so exciting. I have power ranks on body state.
I think I'm missing the base. God, if I'm missing one base, make sure you bring back your graduated cylinder with the base.
Yeah. Do anything else with it?
I just need to
What? Would you want to look at mine?
You want me to do it here?
Yeah.
So this will be 4.1. Wait, what's the type of the white? Ready? So you guys have to pop down this. What? Yeah. Oh, you guys have to make sense of the white? Yeah. How could that be more than the light in the dark? That's just type for dark. For dark. Should I do a bar graph or a line graph? Wait, this is dark. Show more graphic.
If you still haven't taken all of your measurements, please hurry up and wash your test tubes. I have other things to do today.
Guys, is anyone helping me? Or do you know how
What do you think is that fact? 43% safe?
Sam, we do this call.
So,
9. That's right here.
The things play extended horizontal. How much that Ray, I'm 40. I'll beat you in Pokemon.
Which one do you have?
Emerald.
I have all the legendaries.
You heard right. Oh shit. I'm gonna have to back down. I don't know if I can beat all of the legendaries.
Yeah, I just like got really bored one day and went on back on my.
And played 86 hours of Pokemon.
No, it took it. It actually was not that hard. You just like have to buy like a shit ton. Eventually, then fall asleep. Because like, yeah, it's like all in. You have to sleep. You gotta give them the rest. Like, just get their help. Like, you can get their help down while they're sleeping. It's really tough. I remember like, I can feel
Wow, you ordered a salad for John. You must really care about your health.
My Monday, my Wednesday and next week, yeah, Is there right now?
Your fingers are really small.
You said you could do like pull-up. Do muscle up. Do muscle up.
You said yesterday. Well, they asked, but that's what I'm really fun.
I can do like this.
Yeah, they're a little easier for me that way too. Yeah. And that was hard.
I would. I'm not sure. I don't know if I write it 60.
Hey kids, let's get started, please.
Yeah, I graduated.
Are you still waiting for everyone to mention?
Okay, I'm still waiting.
You just worked on this book. Cool video.
A couple people have asked me about the water retention part. Please look up. Maybe you put in 75 or maybe you put in 150. But however much you put in, what you're supposed to keep track of is what percentage was left in the soil after each of the minute intervals. So watch. There's a way to do this as long as you measured how much you put in, and as long as you measured how much was dripping out by minute, you can still do this. So at the first minute, you have 150 minus 10. So 140 are in here at the first minute. Does that make sense to everybody if 10 milliliters dripped out in the first minute? Everybody good with that? Yeah. And so watch, 140 divided by 150 equals what? 92.5%? 93%? Anybody want to correct me on that math, please? 140 divided by 150 is what? 92%? 93%? Now watch. Excuse me. The next minute there was 11 in the cylinder at the bottom. So that means that we had 139 out of 150 left in the funnel. So 139 divided by 150 is 92%. Then at the next minute, we had 137 left. And so 137 divided by 150 is what? 92% again?
91.
91? And then at the 4th minute, we have 135 divided by 150, which is exactly 90%. And so the way that you would graph that is the percentage of water retained by minute. So at minute 1, we had 93%. At minute 2, we had 92. At minute 3, we had 91. At minute 4, we had 90. And that's pretty good water retention. Remember, what you're going to try to map is percentage retained by minute. Yes?
What kind of soil holds the most amount of water?
Clay.
Clay?
And as a matter of fact, you may already know that clay slip. How many of you have played with clay before? So, most of you are aware that clay will stay pretty darn wet for a day or 2 or 3 or 4. It'll dry out a little on the outside, but the inside stays wet for a long time. Those are really, really tiny grains. So the water takes a long time to work its way out of a lump of clay. So high clay soils have extremely high retention. They might have stayed at 99% all the way across the top. If you have really sandy soils, those will go 90, 70, 50, 30 dry in 5 minutes. Did anybody have soil that dropped all the water through very quickly? And was that a very sandy soil as well? When you did the measurement, it was high on the soil content, sand content. Was that also the case over here with the other hand? Oh, same group, got it. Are there any questions about how to calculate your percentage water retention by minute? Yes?
We're at 75 though, right? It's not 150.
I don't know if you did 2 beakers or 1 beaker. Some kids had to put in the second one because they had so much dirt that nothing came out with 75. Probably what happened is water got around the edges, but once it got into the dirt, it didn't go through the dirt. Yeah. Anybody else? Cool. So I owe you an apology, some of you more than others. Yesterday was a Thursday after school environmental film, which for me feels like a great success. It's been a struggle for me to pull off 2 days a week. So we had our student volunteer, we had our parent volunteer. Everything was signed up. We had the photocopies and the video, and we went to go give the principal secretary the information. And she said, "No, you can't do it today. I'm sorry, it's Halloween." What? Right. And I was like, well, but we have students who want to go anyway, despite it being Halloween, and I'm happy to offer them the extra credit. And they're like, "No, I'm sorry. No can do." I was like, "Well, but do we not have custodians?" They're like, "No, we have custodians." I was like, "Is it a holiday?" Well, not really. So I never really understood why they couldn't allow us to have the video yesterday, but we were not allowed to have the Halloween movie. Very sorry about that. How many of you came and took a photograph with the door? If you show me the photograph, I'll give you the point for having tried. I'm sorry that we couldn't do our end. Okay, but you got to show me the photo today before we take off. Yeah. I hope so, but I got to find a time, maybe this weekend, to talk to the principal secretary and see if maybe I'm mistaken about something. I'm trying.
The week after Halloween, I don't know if it's going to work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's something special about the 4th of November or something. But I'll try. And probably the one that you want to watch the most is the one that we have scheduled for Wednesday next week. If I can make a second one, it'll probably be Tuesday, because I don't want you watching a movie on the night you should be studying for the test. I would be happy to share that with you some other time, but probably not as the in-class week. All right. I mean, because the other one for Wednesday is a little bit more instructional. So here's another story of my frustrations. For years and years and years, I've had a Facebook group for my class. You know that I have a Facebook group for the Green Club, right? You've heard about that? And did you guys see that there is an extra credit opportunity this Sunday? Green Club extra credit this Sunday, 9 to 12:30. I should tell you about that one. 9 to 12:30 at Arroyo Hondo. They're doing like the funnest type of extra credit ever. They're planting natives in a big meadow area where they've been trying to restore habitat. So they're going to be doing an installation of native plants. It's sort of one of the easiest and funnest activities that they do out there. I would strongly recommend that you go if you can. All the information should be on the Facebook group, 9 to 12:30 this Sunday. But the reason that the Facebook thing came up is because for years we used to have a Facebook group for apes. And this year they told me, no more Facebook groups for classes. We're going to switch to EDU 2.0. How many of you either completely ignore, erase, or have outright shut off the emails from EDU 2.0? That's what I thought. So when I found out that ASIPS was canceled, I didn't bother to send you a message on EDU because I know that nobody checks those messages.
70 a day.
You get how many?
You just get so many messages a day.
Yeah, so you guys are getting a ton, right?
I deleted all 4.
You delete all 400, yeah.
You have an iPhone, right?
I do.
There's an app you can get where you can text out a massive amount of people that can't text you back. So, like notifications, like last year my science teacher would say, like, oh, the test responded it.
Yeah, I mean, I would be willing to try that out and then get all your cell phone numbers, but you can all join the Facebook group if you want. I've started a Facebook group for the class now. I've had 4 reasons to contact you this year, and I couldn't. I wanted to tell you about the confusion of yesterday's lab. We had the movie canceled last night. There was the day that I didn't have the soil paperwork early enough for you, but it was on the internet, so I wanted to tell you about that. And then there was something else in a previous unit. I can't remember what that was about. Does anybody remember something I might have had to... What? Yeah, there was a typo or something where there was like a question that wasn't in... When I gave you the wrong study guide, what unit was that? Unit 3? Where I gave you the wrong... Okay, so that was the other time. Look, I don't use Facebook a lot. I'm not looking for Facebook friends. By the way, I have a standing policy of not making Facebook friends with my students. Because if you ever post a picture of you with like the big 4-footer, I'm supposed to I'm supposed to report that. And so if you're my student, it puts us in a really, hold on. It puts us in like a really uncomfortable situation. And I've been in that position before. So don't take it personally, but I will not be your friends on Facebook. However, I would like you to join this Facebook group. And if you do it right now, I can accept all of you. It's just for class announcements. I will not be like hitting you up like, hey, where are the girls this weekend? Like, just for stuff like last